For tonight's match between AC Milan and Fiorentina.
Hello again, everyone. While neither of these two teams can retain any serious thoughts perhaps on the championship, Europe is of course very much a target, with only 5 points separating the 5 teams below the top 3. Ware and Cruz are still missing from Milan, and Savicevic is also on the injury list yet again. Up front, Capello pins his hopes on a combination of Gantz and Kluivert. Ziege and Boban have both been declared fit, but only Boban starts. Ziege, who like Boban has been suffering from a back complaint, is on the bench today. Check on the Fiorentina side. There's no Stefan Schwarz. He's suspended after his sending off last weekend, so there's a place for Kanchelskis, as we've been hearing there, wide on the right. While up front, Luis Oliveira and Morfeo partner Batistuta at the expense of Edmundo, who's only among the substitutes today. Rui Costa is the midfield conductor, alongside Cois, who's being widely tipped now to win his first Italian cap against Slovakia on Wednesday. Not exactly a favourite fixture, this, for Fiorentina. Out of 59 previous visits, they've beat Milan only 5 times away. But perhaps of more significance is their current form outside of Florence. Only 2 defeats on their travels this season. Impressive wins in the last 2 Serie A games at Vicenza and Brescia. And of course, even though they were eventually beaten by Inter here back in September, they were very unlucky to be on the wrong end of a 3-2 defeat. Milan remain unpredictable then, so disappointing when we featured them a fortnight ago. Just seeing here Gennaro Borriello, who's the man in charge today. But of course, Milan were simply inspired just a few days before that goalless draw with Roma in trouncing Inter in the Italian Cup. And certainly Fiorentina will derive encouragement themselves from the failings of Capello's team in the San Siro. Only 2 home wins from 9 Serie A games. Well, Joe Jordan, alongside me here, you saw that win by Inter, and it was a lucky win over Fiorentina. What hopes do you hold out for the team from Florence today, with Kanchelskis back in the team?
Well, good afternoon, Pierre. Good afternoon, everyone. Looking at the two teams, Peter, so far this season, the team of these two has impressed me most has been Fiorentina. They are a very attractive and entertaining team. Milan so far, up until last week, they got back into a run of some consistency, but I'm still not convinced of them. I think their target really realistically is a UEFA place, where Fiorentina, their target is obviously the same, but they are a team that I think have made more progress. In saying that, it's a very difficult place to come, and it's not their favourite ground, so it's nicely in the balance.
Milan kicking off and attacking the goal then to our right. Leonardo down that left side. Maldini with the throw. Playing in his more accustomed role at left back then today, Maldini. Capello has only been able to field his first choice back line on half a dozen occasions this season, for one reason or another. Cruz, the Brazilian, still missing, and Ziege, who has been suffering from this back problem, as I was mentioning earlier, not considered good enough to start the game today, only a substitute. But he has been struggling. Free kick to Milan. Both teams involved in the Italian Cup in midweek. Although they lost 1-0 to Inter, they'd already won the first leg 5-0 Milan. It's Albertini. And Fiorentina drew 0-0 away to Juventus and went out on away goals, following a 2-2 draw in Florence. Milan will now face Parma in the semi-finals. Juventus take on Lazio. Ball given away then by Maldini. Here's Costa Curta playing alongside Desai at the back. Maldini again, captain of club and country, on by Albertini. This is Boban, who's been in fine form for Milan. Ibrahim Bar showing the erratic side of his game.
If you look at the two teams and the players that are in them, Peter, you can't fail to think that there's going to be chances today, and there are players here who can tuck them away. The way that Fiorentina play, whether it's home or away, is a very positive manner in approaching the game, and they have the players who are in form that can score goals.
This man certainly can. Batistuta, the leading scorer in Serie A this season, 14 already. That was Rui Costa. Luis Oliveira with a great chance! What a start for Fiorentina! Milan's defence carved apart, and Luis Oliveira, who hasn't scored since the turn of the year in Serie A, has pounced to the most emphatic fashion. 2 minutes in.
Well, it's a great start to the game, and he is onside. I think it's Cardoni really that has played him onside there. It's a lovely little ball played through. He's read it well. He's looked along. He's kept his composure, and he's hit the target. And that's the first goal. And I think, as I said earlier, I think there could be a few goals today.
Cardone was certainly playing him on. Costa Curta looked across the line. It was a marginal decision, but he was definitely onside. Luis Oliveira.
Well, this is a tactic that Milan have used many times in the past, but they had Baresi in the team to organise it and to give the rule. And obviously, with the departure of the great man, they haven't got it off to a T the way that it was in the past, and it's to their cost there.
Well, supervision by Rui Costa to find Luis Oliveira. His 7th goal in Serie A this season. The previous 6 all come in a 6-game spell prior to Christmas. And he hit a real purple patch. The Viola, no pun intended. Or a goal up here. This is Morfeo to sweep it on. So many attacking options in this Fiorentina side. Here's another one, of course, in Kanchelskis. His first start in Serie A since that injury in the San Siro when Toribio West sent him flying in such cynical fashion. Leonardo. Tackle Toribio West will never be allowed to forget. Ezio Gantz marauding up front here against Falcone. Started really well for Milan. Gantz since his switch from Inter. 3 goals in his first 5 competitive starts. Here's Albertini. Decent ball in, dealt with by Toldo. So I think he got his fist to it. Away goes Kanchelskis. This is where they're going to be so dangerous on the break. He's got Batistuta ahead of him. That was Costa Curta. A very important clearance for Milan. Many latecomers. The goal just 2 minutes in from Luis Oliveira, the Belgian international. It's held by Boban on Morfeo. He's having a decent run in the side at the moment.
Yes, I think you're correct. I think Toldo was the one that punched it away there. I think what you have here as well is I think you've got an Italian team here, Peter, in Fiorentina, who are not what is normally associated with Italian teams. They are a team that are going to continue to try and go for the second goal. They're not going to sit back and try and contain Milan and stick out for a 1-0 win. They'll go and try and get the second.
He certainly will. Gabriel Batistuta. As Padalino, the last defender. Batistuta is so lethal from that kind of range. In goes Serena. Foul they want Cardone. Free kick to Milan. And we're just hearing that Inter are a goal down to Empoli. Esposito has struck early on there for Empoli. Team lying 14th in the table. The leaders are in trouble. And the news, I think, has just filtered through to the fans in the stadium here. Inter, who, of course, were beaten at home by Bari last week and seem to be off the boil at the moment. It's Leonardo, the Brazilian international, failing to keep the ball in play. Grown his hair again since we last saw him. All the Brazilian players had their hair shorn off for the Confederations Cup when they wanted it or not, I gather. Svericano. He's a really experienced figure at the back for Fiorentina these days. Svericano, the former Cagliari defender. On by Serena. Luis Oliveira. Feo ahead of him. It's good tracking back though by Ibrahim Bar. Then Boban with the pass. Gantz showing good pace against Padalino. Still Gantz. Theatrical dive. Well, he really isn't going to convince any referee that warranted a penalty. Maybe there was some contact, but you can't react like that.
Well, I must admit, Pierre, I thought it was a pathetic attempt to get a penalty here. He's actually in a good position. The guy does make contact with his leg, but in no way is it a penalty. He's really let himself down there.
Rui Costa, I think, the man who caught him. No sympathy whatsoever offered by the referee. Didn't have too many options open to him, in fairness, Gats, but all the same, it was an overreaction, a theatrical dive, and I would have thought the referee should have booked him for that. Albertini, lovely ball then to Kluivert. It's a good first touch too from the Dutchman. But then Boban overhitting his pass in the direction of Leonardo.
He's a guy we'll be looking for some quality today. He's had an indifferent time has Kluivert, and the way that Gans has started off. I mean, there is the makings there of a good partnership, but there's a lot of responsibility on Kluivert to try and win over the fans.
Certainly hasn't done so yet. The last game we featured, they were booing his every touch, some of which were better than others. Well, he's got the free kick here. He's substituted in many of the games. He hasn't started that many lately either. Savicevic, and Gans is the first choice pairing with Weah out of action at the moment for Capello. Savicevic once more unavailable. He and a clean bill of health, I think, are strange bedfellows these days. This is Rui Costa. Poor distribution by Milan to present possession back to the teams from Florence, who started very well. Morfeo. I think there was a trip there on Costa Quarta. Made sure the referee didn't miss it. Boban. Serie just getting a touch then. Crucially too. Bar just behind him. Cardone. Albertini. This is Cardone. Milan's right back today. Swung in towards Ezio Gats. It's Milan's throw. Fiorentina haven't beaten Milan here for over a decade now. But they're off to a flying start thanks to the goal from Luis Oliveira. Leonardo. Oh, lovely control. That was brilliantly done. Gats. Oh, Toldo lost it completely. Some great work from Leonardo. And it nearly produced an equalising goal after some dithering from Toldo. 10 minutes gone. Rui Costa to Serena, who's having a fine season for Fiorentina. Such an adaptable, versatile player. There's Desai, it's Batistuta. Now Morfeo. Batistuta still down. Panolino to Finicano. Too long for Luis Oliveira. Anxious eyes cast in the direction of Batistuta. I think he's okay.
Well, certainly that's going to be a good tussle today. I mean, me personally, I prefer him at the back, and he will have his hands full today. Not only in Batistuta, but Oliveira and Morfeo. These three up front are a threesome that have a great understanding and make runs for each other.
Here's Kluivert with a terrific chance. And there was no conviction about it at all. That was a player very low on confidence. Set up delightfully by Albertini.
It's a lovely ball through, but this is an example where Kluivert really has got to make things happen for him. He had a great opportunity there. Great opportunity to not only to get his team on level terms, but to win round the fans. And as you say, lack of conviction. He's in a great position. There's one or two things he could do. I think his selection's been right, but he's not concluded it well at all.
It was a wonderful opportunity for Kluivert. A wonderful chance to win back the fans who've derided him in recent weeks. He's got just 3 goals in Serie A. His coach, though, Capello, says, look, he's only 21, give him time. And, of course, he's had a lot of problems off the field, too. This is Boban working hard for Milan. Can't release Leonardo. Kanchelskis back defending now. Luis Oliveira. One of only two Fiorentina players certain to be featuring in the World Cup. He'll of course be with the Belgians, and Batistuta will be with Argentina. This is Coes, who, as I was suggesting earlier on, could well be in the Italian team to play Slovakia in the week. Zola, remember, dropped from the squad. That's Ibrahim Bar. Again, the pitch didn't help him. They're going to relay it again in the summer, all of it this time, the full works. Certainly needs it. It'll be 3 months, though, the operation. Here's Gantz against Padalino, who managed to repel him. Had a shaky game last week, Padalino. He more or less gave away the first goal against Lazio when he let in Alan Boksic. But normally he's pretty reliable and steady, as is Toldo, in fairness, but he certainly looked wobbly earlier in dealing with the cross from Leonardo. Toldo managing to usher that one away, but only as far as Albertini. Then Ibrahim Bar. Again, it was a curious selection by the French international, whose form has suffered in recent weeks after a good spell. Certainly has the talent, not always the application. Fioricano, Padalino, and then Serena, who gives Fiorentina balance down the left side. That's Padalino again, straight to Leonardo. Maybe thought about a shot for a moment, and Gantz nearly got Kluivert in, but the flag is up for offside. Good open game so far. This is Kanchelskis, caught by Boban. Man who'd been a doubt, remember, because of injury. Here's Gantz. Kluivert lost his bearings. Yet Maldini behind him. And the fans are on his back already, I'm afraid. It's going to be a while since George Weah is available again because of his back problems. They've got a spate of back injuries at the moment at Milan. Boban. Fine run here from the Croatian. 3 options in the centre. Maldini's arrived as well. Now he might have to scamper back. Kanchelskis. This is Falcone, former under-21 international. Batistuta arching those neck muscles, but couldn't quite release Luis Oliveira. No offside against Gantz as Fiorentina defenders squeeze forward. Morfeo, Serena to his left. Morfeo supporting again. Breakdown in communication there really with Serena. He's a very intelligent player, Morfeo. Started 10 in a row now in Serie A, having failed to get into the side on a regular basis early on in the season. He's now convinced manager Malisani that he's the man for the job. Serena made room for himself well. Batistuta and Luis Oliveira lurking in the centre, but it's too long for both of them. But it's been a very positive opening by Fiorentina, Joe.
Yeah, that's what I expected. I mean, I think they are a very attractive team, and I think their strength is going forward. We've already mentioned the three front players, but I think they are a team, you know, the way that they have been constructed, are a team that benefit from attacking other teams, especially away from home.
Here's Kluivert looking to attack Fiorentina. And he's forced the corner. You know yourself, Joe, playing in that position, it's all about confidence, isn't it?
It is, especially as you mentioned. He's 21 years of age. I know that he's won the European Cup and he's won the league titles with Ajax and whatnot, but he is only 21. He's come to a massive club, and he needs an arm round his shoulder.
Leonardo with the corner kick towards Boban. It's good work by Kanchelskis to deny him. Now Serena. No way forward. It's Toldo, who seems to be the number 4th choice now for the Italians. He's not in the frame at the moment. Buffon has been called up as number 2 to Peruzzi for the game against Slovakia. Moderate defending by Desai, so strong at the back. As Batistuta will be the first to testify. The jump then by Maldini, Kluivert, Albertini, always looking for the inventive pass. Serena a little too strong though for Ibrahim Ba, who caught him then. More in frustration, I think, than anything else. Rui Costa's chip. Cross comes Costa Quarter.
I think that's just a little bit of handbags there, Peter. Nothing really to shout about.
Boban, Cardone, some space for him here. It's Kluivert. Now Serena with Oliveira. Fine link-up play by Fiorentina. Rui Costa. It's a terrific interception by Maldini. I think Milan a better balance when he is at left back rather than in the centre.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think they lose Maldini, his forceful runs, which unfortunately we haven't seen so far, which we're wanting to see. We want him to get up the left wing there and to be linking up with Leonardo and getting some crosses in.
That was Desai. In goes Boban. He's begun with a real flourish, Boban. Ibrahim Ba. Now Albertini. Paolo Maldini. It's not a bad ball for Gantz. And Serena kept his cool, kept his nerve. Under pressure. Gantz, who's such a predator around goal. Luis Oliveira. His early goal divides the two teams. Kluivert showing he's prepared to work hard. It's not going his way so far. Here's Rui Costa. Orfeo. Now Kanchelskis. Batistuta. Just couldn't control it. Rui Costa. And defeat by Lazio at home last week ended a 10-match unblemished run in Serie A for Fiorentina. He's got his angles just right just yet, has he?
Well, you really want him, Ibrahim Ba, to be taking the full back on, really to be positive and get behind him and get the crosses in, because in Gans they certainly have one player who will be in there in the 6-yard box, and we're obviously hoping for the support of Kluivert, who so far has started indifferently.
So I would have thought Ibrahim Ba would have given Serena a run for his money down this right side for Milan, but so far he's not really had the confidence to take him on. Padarino. Excellent work at the back. Now Rui Costa. There's a late challenge from Albertini.
I don't think he's pleased, Peter. What do you think?
There's not much you can say over that, is there? It makes Gordon Strachan look timid. Free kick to Milan. Conceded by Coes, whose industry is such a feature for Fiorentina. Serena blocking the run from Ba.
What you're showing there, sorry, Pierce, what you're showing there is Olivieri, who was one of the three forwards, who's back there making a tackle in Ibrahim Ba, and shows you that the work rate that's going into the performance of Fiorentina.
Here's Cardone. And off the head of Fedicaro. For a corner to Milan. Won their last 4 now at home to Fiorentina. They've only scored just once in those matches. Fiorentina. The A vital early breakthrough today from Luis Oliveira, but now Leonardo with the corner for Milan. Boban was the man far post, and adjudged to be the miscreant.
There doesn't look anything in that at all, and the referee is perfectly positioned to give the right judgment.
I think he's actually just given the goal kick. We're halfway through the first half. Milan not really worrying Toldo too much so far. That was Desai. This is Ibrahim Ba. One of 9 players from Serie, French players called up for the French game against Spain next week. Desai is also in the squad. Kaczynski's outmanoeuvred by Paolo Maldini. This is promising for Milan. Terrific surge by Maldini, and he just couldn't pull it back far enough.
Well, that's where and why he's the difference. Other than being a great defender, he has got this ability to take players on, great pace, just overstretching a little bit to be able to get a ball come chance. It was just a cross, but normally when he gets in these positions, and with that strength and pace he has, he can pick players out.
Falcone was fully extended and very nearly brought him down then. Had he gone down, Maldini, some referees might have given a penalty there. Just too quick for him. Albertini, good touch, but not so from Ibrahim Ba. Rui Costa won it back. That's Serena. Batistuta tends to flit in and out of matches, but of course he can flit into them in such explosive fashion. Here's Boban. He's making things happen for Milan. Kluivert, then Leonardo. Good save by Toldo. Ba. That was Boban. Didn't really get hold of it on that occasion. But Toldo came to his team's rescue with a really athletic save. Morfeo on the break for Fiorentina. A good strike from Leonardo. First save he's really been called on to make so far, Toldo.
Yeah, the reaction from the early goal has been a little bit disappointing from Milan. I mean, they've had 1 or 2 opportunities, but it's been a little bit inept at their performance so far. They are at home. It is a big game, as I say. The opportunity of these 2 teams to get into UEFA.
There goes Gantz, no offside.
Is there. He is, without doubt, Gantz. He's been caught offside a couple of times, but he is the one that has shown so far that he has the sharpness, the quickness of thought to get Milan back into the game.
There's a worry for Fiorentina at the moment. Serena is clearly in some trouble, and twice he's been across to the bench to seek advice as to what he should do. He clearly wants some treatment, which will please this man Ibrahim Ba. Serena has had his measure so far in this first half. Batistuta, whose contribution has been minimal. We all know what he is capable of. Here's Costa Curta. Maldini. Longer ball this time from Costa Curta, not a good one. Ba with the header. And striding out comes Parolino, Luis Oliveira. Batistuta tearing through the middle, but he's sent off too soon. Terrific scoring rate though this season. 14 goals in 16 league games. The best strike rate in Serie A without penalties for almost 40 years. Oliveira. Fiorentina have yet to win a penalty this season. This is Morfeo. Rui Costa. So much revolves around him. That's good anticipation by Maldini. Filicano to tidy up. Desai flags up for offside again. I think he could have a busy afternoon. They have struggled at home in the league, certainly, Milan, throughout the season. Just 2 wins, remember, in 9 Serie A games before today here. This is Albertini, who hopes to win his 50th cap for his country against Slovakia in the week. Cardone keeping out Christian Ziga this afternoon. Morfeo. Cardone with the challenge. I think he only would have anticipated being a bit part player, Cardone, this season, but he's been in the side quite often with their various injuries and suspensions. Fidicano. Now, the counter-attack from Milan, down goes Gantz. The referee has given the free kick, maybe a little fortuitously for Gantz. Yellow card for Coes.
Well, it's fallen in a great area for someone like Leonardo to come and go on the end of that. I thought it was a little bit fortunate to get the free kick.
Quite sure who's been cautioned there, whether it's Serena who committed the offence. Yes, I think it is. Wondered if Coes had said something out of turn. Well, it's a threatening position. Maybe Leonardo will fancy this one. Toldo ultra-cautious on that Fiorentina goal line. Albertini can also hit them from here. It's the left foot of Leonardo. Eventually. Here he is. He's bent it well. He's not far away from the Brazilian.
Well, he's hardly taken any run up at all. He's trying to place it in the corner, and as you say, he's not far away at all.
3 goals in Serie A so far this season from the former Paris Saint-Germain player. Desai against Batistuta. And the referee ruling in the Argentines' favour. Desai, who's played at the back more often for Milan this season than in the past. Of course, he plays at the back for France, alongside Laurent Blanc mainly. Here's Panolino with Fidicano. They've been generally pretty steady so far.
Well, certainly not being intimidated at all. And the last time I seen them here in September when they played Inter, they played, if anything, they played a lot better. And they took the game to Inter that day. And how they lost, you'll never know. But they've started well. Milan haven't caused them too many problems.
Rui Costa. Fiorentina again exuding confidence when they come forward. 15 minutes of the first half to go, and Luis Oliveira, for all his pace, couldn't quite keep it in. Thought he was going to for a moment. A lot of passes going astray for Milan. They haven't really found their rhythm so far. Didn't get a clean strike at the ball. Maybe we'll see on the replay if we're going to. Joe, did you feel there was a hint of a push there?
No, I think there's always going to be a nudge there, but I think when you're going in our position as a centre-forward, you're going to expect and you've got to be strong. Certainly stronger than Kluivert has been, not only in that incident, but once or twice where there's been challenges. He just looks a little bit, let's say, weak, you know, in the challenges and also his performance. I haven't really seen him make any positive runs to create an opportunity for his front mate, for him to hit it to the front man.
Here's Costa Corta, the covering defender. Now Taibi, who's under a bit of pressure then. He's given it away to Andrei Kanchelskis, the former Manchester United and Everton man. He was in sparkling form before that serious injury that he sustained here against Inter back in September. Now Rui Costa. Oh, that's a lovely little ball then to Luis Oliveira. Crowded out. He's got no support at all. Here's Costa Curta. Could have done with some help then. Leonardo to swing it away. Again, it's a poor clearance. Straight to Fiorentina. Given away by Rui Costa. That's a foul by Maurizio Getz.
I think Gans is a little bit unfortunate. I I think he has in his mind what he intends to do, but I think he was a little bit unfortunate to be being called against him. But in those positions there, I think Kluivert has got to help Gans as well. He's got to be in a position where he can hold the ball up and allow Milan, because they're knocking balls out Milan and they're coming straight back at them. And it is the responsibility of people like Kluivert, other than being a goal scorer, to take that weight and bring his teammates into the game, and so far he hasn't done that.
No, the front two aren't reading each other too well. They're a fair distance apart too, aren't they, if you look. That was Costa Curta. And they've lost their way at the moment, Milan. If it was ever there in this game. Shake of the head from Costa Curta. Returned last week at Parma after missing the last home league game through suspension. Boban. He's having a decent first half anyway. That's an excellent ball to Getz. Did really well then to angle his header towards goal. What a great ball in from Boban.
It's a great ball, but every time the ball comes into the box, it seems to be Gans that's on the end of it. Kluivert is in support, but there is no one else.
Really his forte, scoring goals in the air. Maurizio Getz, it's on the ground. Well, he's so lethal. But he certainly caused some anxiety for Toldo and those Fiorentina defenders. Boban's header. This is Falcone. Old head on young shoulders, Falcone. Fiorentina. Luis Oliveira trying to hold off Desai. No easy task. That's Kanchelskis. He's picked out Serena. Not really in the game, Batistuta, is he?
No, he's not, but if I could just give a moment to Milan. What I noticed there was a ball was played through from the back by Fiorentina, and there was no pressure put on the Fiorentina players at all, and that's what I've noticed about Milan. Milan, when they were a great team, they put so much pressure on the opposition, and so far, if we could take today's performance, that pressure has not been there, and it starts with the front players in Gans and Kluivert, and it's backed up by the guys that are playing the four that are playing in the middle of the park, and so far that hasn't been part of Milan's game, and until they put that right, then they're not going to win the ball in the opposition's half.
Sandro Coes to Rui Costa. Milan have actually enjoyed more success away from home this season. Prior to the defeat in Parma last week, they won 5 successive games outside the San Siro. There's Serena. 10 minutes of the first half to go. The first half, which Fiorentina are edging at this stage. Luis Oliveira just 2 minutes in with the only goal so far. Leonardo. It's too close to Toldo. Now Luis Oliveira. Falcone racing away to his right. This is Morfeo. Kanchelskis. Morfeo. Then Batistuta. Morfeo offside. Not that it would have mattered. Former Atalanta player Morfeo. His first season with Fiorentina. Kluivert. He has the touch, he has the game, but he doesn't have his confidence. The crowd helping, are they?
No, they're not. The crowd are impatient, not only with Cliver, but with the whole team. But he's got to be stronger. I mean, he's 6 foot plus. He's got the ability, he's got the technique, but he's got to show a little bit more strength and aggression and resilience.
Leonardo's corner. Toldo pushing fellow defenders out of the way. Here's Desai. Filicano pulled out of the centre. That is Tuta. Obstruction on Desai. Too many get the better of him. And a 50-50 challenge like that one. He's just barged him aside, that is Tuta.
He's just getting his own back from earlier on.
I think he'll suffer for that one later. Albertini with the free kick. Milan still striving to get a grip here. Desai, a threat in the middle, along with Kluivert. Toldo didn't get a clean fist to it, really. Luis Oliveira for Fiorentina. Now Rui Costa. Good play by Leonardo. Albertini. Now Ibrahim Bar. Got no width with him in the centre. Kluivert making no headway. All seemed congested in the middle then, at the heart of that move. And there's a lot of disillusionment around the stadium, around the San Siro, from the home fans. Desai, that's Albertini. Falcone with Kanchelskis. Penalised here? I think he must have been.
It's difficult to judge.
Steps, isn't it? He was taking far too long.
Yeah, it's a pain.
Referee Borriello retaining order. Dangerous moment now for Fiorentina as we approach the last 5 minutes of the half. He was faffing about all over the place. Boban and Albertini hoping to engineer something for Milan here. It's not a bad ball. Kluivert stretching, but a mistimed header. He went up too soon. You know all about headers in the box, Joe. He's not got that one right, has he?
No, his time is slightly wrong. He's up at just a fraction too early. I mean, you've got to feel for him because things aren't working for him, and the crowd are showing no patience at all in that individual. I was at the San Siro about 3 weeks ago when we played, I think it was Bologna at home, and the crowd that night just showed their frustration, and they were taking it out in Kluivert, but there was other players there who played just as badly.
Cardone. Too easily broken up though. Serena. Batistuta's touch. Rui Costa, the first time ball. Albertini for Milan. Again, strong pressing by Fiorentina. Their commitment certainly matching Milan's. Now they have the one goal so far. I wonder, Joe, if they might rue the fact they haven't tried to add to it, really.
I think they will. You know, they've certainly got the capabilities to do that. They have been caught off a number of times. But I think so far in the first half they've dealt quite comfortable with it. I think if they didn't push themselves, there's an opportunity there to exploit Milan even more.
Only Juventus have scored more goals than Fiorentina in Serie A this season. Fiorentina on 35 now. Juve with 2 more. Juventus at home to Atalanta today. Inter, remember, away to Empoli. And the home team there are a goal up. Juve's 0-0. Lazio at home to Bologna. I think that's also goalless. Baggio, we gather, destined for the bench again. That'll go down well. It's all rather unconvincing from Milan. Albertini. 3 minutes of the first half to go. One or two promising moments, but no more than that, really. See what Boban can do here. He at least is playing well. Leonardo. That's Fidicano with the clearance.
There is no spark to the Milan game, Peter. You know, there is no one there that is, in my opinion, is going to change at this moment in time, unless they get the ball into the box for Gans. What I think they'll be looking for in the second half is, I'm sure Capello will say, I mean, they've got to put a lot more pressure on Fiorentina.
Leonardo. I think they're missing the drive in midfield of Vesai. Obviously has a job to do at the back today. It's not Cliver is offside.
No, it's not. I think it was what the reaction of the crowd was. It was Cliver and an indifferent attitude to try and make a ball. It wasn't a good ball, like a good ball, you know. And the crowd are right on his back at every opportunity.
Here's Serena. Orfeo managed to keep it in. It's great technique. Falcone. He's having a splendid half. Orfeo to take it on. But he can't service Batistuta or Luis Oliveira. You certainly had the feeling if they did venture forward more often, they would stretch Milan even more. Fiorentina. This game is certainly there for the taking. Just 2 away defeats in Serie A against Inter here and against Juventus for Fiorentina. Leonardo pouring it forward to Gans. Maldini, a towering header. Good layoff by Boban to Leonardo. Boban's continued his run. Falcone saving the day for Fiorentina. Despite the disapproval of the home crowd. Rui Costa. So elegantly tugging the strings for Fiorentina. We're almost into stoppage time now at the end of the first half. Kacelskis with Morfeo. Batistuta. Could be through here. Oh, you'd have fancied him to score from there. Taibbi left a very relieved man.
I know the execution is not Batistuta standard, but prior to that, Fiorentina had about 5 or 6 passes from which no Milan player has got anywhere near them to put pressure and try and win the ball, and the result of which has given Batistuta a chance which normally he would tuck away. And that's where I see the difference in Milan now from the past. Basically, the work rate is not there. I think the ability of the players is there, but collectively they haven't put enough in.
Well, he's not as lethal on his left as he is on his right, Batistuta. That's Rui Costa. 101 goals in Serie A from Batistuta. Only 14 with his head and only 8 with his left foot. So he's tucked a few away with his right.
Doesn't like hitting the ball, Peter, does he?
Which is not something you were ever accused of.
No, but maybe that's why he's got a lot more hair than me. It's a fantastic striker. He is, over the years, he's been a fantastic centre forward, and he's still got a lot of appetite for the game now.
Orfeo, that's lovely link-up play. At least it might have been if Batistuta had been on the same wavelength. Here's Kluivert. Boban, who's setting such a fine example to those around him. Here's Kluivert. That was a dreadful pass from Ibrahim Bar. It was almost behind him. But the crowd are blaming him for everything now, Kluivert. State of the Russian economy, anything. half-time whistle. Rooted with plenty of jeers around the San Siro, Milan have not been convincing. Fiorentina are a goal up, scored by Luis Oliveira very early on, just 2 minutes gone. And in truth, Milan haven't too often looked like cancelling out that advantage. That's the way of it here then in the San Siro. News from other matches a little later. Join us again after the break.
This weekend on Fox Sports.
Pearce made the header his. Newcastle may have a bit more defending to do yet. Inman tried to burst his way forward. Crawshaw just about stopped it from being a goal kick, but only at the expense of a corner. "89 minutes played on the clock. Free kick to Newcastle. Considered by March, who's had a good game second half since his arrival. Howie. Steve Watson. Great tackle. Inman. Well, the idea was good to float it over the top of the Newcastle defender, but sadly they haven't quite had the presence up front in the second half that they would have wished. Wordsworth. Robbed by Batty. Can Newcastle manufacture a chance in the time remaining? Are Stevenage happy enough to settle for the draw and earn themselves a trip to St James's Park? Given away by March. This is Alan Shearer. Pitspire. March gets the chance to recover himself, and he took it. Dilmot. Over the top. Well seen by Pearce. Maybe still time for Stevenage to launch an attack. We've played 2 minutes of injury time. Can't see that there could be a lot more.
Coventry City beating Derby. You would expect that the way Coventry are playing in recent times. Crystal Palace cannot win a league game at home, can win cup games. That was a good result for them, where Dyer got all 3 goals for Palace. Huddersfield and Wimbledon. Huddersfield gave Wimbledon a bit of a fright there, and then Ipswich and Sheffield United have to do it all again. So nothing surprising about those results. I said here on Fox Sports, I backed Leeds and I backed Blackburn for a good cup.
We're going to see is Donadoni on for the second half. Just trying to check round and see if that's a straight switch, maybe for Ibrahim Bar, or no, Bar is out there. So we'll clear that up as soon as we can. But Donadoni on, Joe Jordan.
Yeah, it's not a surprise. I mean, there is a number of 1 or 2 players that he could have come on for. We're not really sure who it is, but I mean, Kluivert is one who was having a tough time.
Well, Kluivert is the one who's not coming out, Joe. Kluivert is not going to start the second half. So will he push Leonardo maybe up front? He was getting some fearful stick. Well, he had to sympathise with Kluivert. No one deserves that kind of response from your home crowd. And clearly Capello decided enough was enough.
Yeah, it looked like torture for him, but it's not just this game. In recent weeks, especially at home, you could see there's a lot of weight on his shoulders. Things haven't been going right, and to be perfectly honest, he hasn't helped himself. He had a little opportunity there in the first half, which actually was a good chance, and that's the sort of thing that can turn it for you. But just his body language just gave the impression that things weren't going right for him.
This is Ibrahim Ba from Donadoni's pass. Leonardo, Maldini in the centre. So too was Gantz and Boban. That was Gantz. Now Donadoni, 34 now.
Well, Donadoni's certainly a player that if you give him the ball, he can take players on and take them out of game, and he can create things.
Fantastic servant in the past, of course, Donadoni, returning to the club in October after 18 months or so in America with the New York Metro Stars. 16 major honours in 10 years in his previous spell. Problem for Luis Oliveira, the man who struck so early on for Fiorentina. Clashing with Maldini, who went in very determined fashion. But then you'd expect nothing less than 100% from Paolo Maldini. Boban. Rui Costa, who's such a delightful player in possession. Just too long, though, for Batistuta. Rudy Balbo with 105 goals to score more Serie A goals for a foreigner since the ban was lifted on overseas players back in 1980. 101 goals, Batistuta. This is Morfeo. Konchelskis out wide. Didn't get forward that often in the first half. A lot of defensive duties for Konchelskis. Leonardo with a layoff. To Maldini. Offside, Gantz, as Toldo comes sprinting out. Toldo, of course, could have been in Taibbi's position by now if Fiorentina hadn't given him a substantial wage increase. Milan came very close to signing him a couple of years ago. This is Desai. Away by Taibbi. It was a dreadful clearance. What a good response there from Desai to snuff out the danger.
Well, Milan will definitely need to raise their game. They need in a better performance they did in the first 45 minutes. There wasn't enough reaction after the early goal, and Fiorentina certainly merited their lead from the first half.
Can the arrival of Donadoni help to transform this match? Albertini. He's found Boban. Still Boban. Great block by Filicano. Then Donadoni with the swinger. He's always travelling well wide. And it was a chance for Boban that he really created for himself. That was deflected, so it's a corner.
Yeah, up until the layoff there, up until Boban collected the ball, he's taking on his chest. He's just taken one step, one touch too many.
Leonardo with the corner kick. That's a good chance. Which, came from not the best of corners. Cardone well wide of goal. They seem to lack conviction all through the team at the moment.
Yeah, there is a lack of confidence. I think that the results have shown. I think away from home up until last week's game there against Parma, on the road they've been first class. They've won 5-6 games on the bounce, but their home form has been indifferent, and that really is due to a lack of conviction and belief in their ability. And there's been a lot of impatience from the crowd.
Well, they were certainly making life tough for Kluivert, and his body language was all wrong. Kanchelskis. Rui Costa with the cross. Goes Barr, clashing with Serena. Serena had the better of him in the first half. Leonardo claiming the throw. And the referee's assistant has pointed in the other direction. Capello has been saying he's happy with the way Milan have responded following their disastrous start to the season. I don't think he's going to be happy with their display here, though, today. Costa Quarter on the retreat, so was Baldini. Here's Kanchelskis. Costa Quarter in the way. Free kick then to Milan. Again, they were sluggish. Rui Costa hoping to punish them. Boban. Now Donadoni wanting some movement ahead of him. In goes Boban away from Coes. Ambitious. Now Morfeo could be through here. Domenico Morfeo! And it's 2-0. Taibbi left stranded and had no response. And Morfeo has danced through to extend their lead. I think Taibbi may well have clashed with Desai there. Whatever, it let in Morfeo 6 minutes into the second half. And they have started the second as they began the first.
Well, he's very sharp on it as well. Milan are slow coming out there, and Morfeo, not only is he sharp in thought, but in action as well, because he's got Desai trying to catch him. He's got himself in a position where he's kept his balance with Desai trying to lean on him. The goalkeeper goes down a little bit too easily for me as well, Peter.
I really think he tackled Desai rather than Morfeo.
He's really helped him make the decision for him. He's shown good strength there, he's kept it, and the goalkeeper has not helped the situation one little bit.
Desai is now behind the goal having treatment after that confrontation with his goalkeeper Taibbi. Morfeo held his nerve. And what a good position Fiorentina find themselves in now. 2-0. Leonardo for Milan. Desperately need a change of luck. Serena. Only Morfeo's third goal in Serie A for Fiorentina. What a crucial one it could turn out to be. Sandro Coes.
When you look at it, you look at Donadoni coming on there for a forward. What you're really looking for, especially a club and like Milan, you're looking at the bench, you're really looking for another quality centre forward to come on. And when you look at the bench, one name doesn't hit you, you know, and that really is disappointing.
Good jump by Cardone. Now Barr. Room to stretch his legs at last. But to no avail. Here's Leonardo. He's hit that well, but not well enough to beat Toldo. Routine save for the Fiorentina goalkeeper. Donadoni. Brought down then by Rui Costa. Just missed time his challenge. For all his protests. Just niggling at him, really. Donadoni using all his experience. That's Albertini. Way by Serena. So no real quality into the box for Milan. Look how quickly they've come tearing forth the Fiorentina defenders.
Well, that's the difference was shown there by Fiorentina, what Milan were trying to do in the other occasion. The only thing is that Milan never came out as a group and never came out quick. And the result of which was Morfeo got on the ball and the result in a goal.
Feo, who's keeping Robiati out of the team these days, but of course will be under pressure now that Edmundo has arrived. Donadoni warding off Rui Costa. Cardone. That was the flick from Albertini. Goes Boban. Oliveira already congested in the middle. Now it's opening up for Kanchelskis. Needs a quality ball in here, and he nearly found it too. Desai knocking it away. Saved by Taibbi. Feo with the strike. A lot to concern Fabio Capello. He's won a league title in 5 of the last 6 seasons, including the one, of course, with Real Madrid in the last campaign. It's a foul on Katz from Falcone. All rather untidy between the two. Donadoni's pass. Leonardo. Little injection of pace. Meandering run that comes to nothing. Rui Costa then for Fiorentina. Costa Curta outsmarting Luis Oliveira. Ibrahim Bar left onside. He won't reach that before Padalino. Excellent defending. Wasn't far away from an Italian call-up last season, Padalino. If he can find that kind of form consistently again, who knows, he might still make it in time for the World Cup finals. That's Serena. Luis Oliveira, who had space in the box. Good closing down from Maldini. But he was left unattended for a moment.
Yeah, just looking at the way the game is panning out at the moment, I think Capello's got to do something. I just can't see Milan getting back into the game the way that they've started the second half. There's no real thrust at all. There's no real pressure and conviction in their game.
Kanchelskis. 2 big away wins in their last 2. Fiorentina, they'll treasure this one just as much, though. They can go on to secure the 3 points today. Luis Oliveira bending it in. No one to profit, though. No one to attack the ball. Batistuta had hung back. Ibrahim Bar. At a leisurely pace. Christian Ziege, I gather, about to come on. Maybe now, and maybe for Bar. Hasn't really got in the game. He certainly hasn't influenced it, has he?
Bar, well, I just look at him. He has had a lot of possession, but he's never really got the best of Serena or any of the Fiorentina players that have faced him. And in numerous occasions, he's come inside instead of going down the flanks and getting his crosses in.
This is Boban. Oh, what a terrific save by Toldo. Came out quickly then to narrow the angle. It was actually a good strike by Boban. I think he's the one man who has done okay, Boban, for Milan today. The one man you feel has impressed. And it was unlucky then to come up against the expertise, the excellence of Toldo. Desai now arriving in the centre. Cardone is going to be sacrificed for Ziege, I gather. Here's Leonardo's corner, and it's comfortably claimed by Toldo. His confidence, no doubt, high after that thrilling save. Rui Costa can't get Batistuta away. Still Juventus 0, Atalanta 0, incidentally, in Turin, and Del Piero has missed a penalty. Rui Costa. Now Batistuta. Kanchelskis. This is Sandro Coes. is Boban. Now Costa Curta. Not a happy bunny. Donadoni. Operating down the right now. Ziege on the left. Serena. Again, it was all broken up without any real discomfort for Fiorentina. Batistuta. What have you made of his contribution all round, Joe?
Well, Batistuta, I think the personal duel between him and Desire has come out in favour of the Milan player, but Batistuta, as we know from performances over the years, he's quite capable of finishing the game with a couple of goals. He's got to be watched for the entire game, even when he's not contributing. And so far, he is linked up reasonably well, but he has been guilty of giving the ball away on occasions. But he is a threat.
Leonardo with an injury. This is Christian Ziege, who hasn't made the impression he was hoping for with Milan since his switch from Bayern Munich. Champions of Germany, of course, last season. We're past the hour mark now, and still Fiorentina holding this 2-goal advantage without a great deal of difficulty. Ibrahim Ba. That's the kind of commitment the fans want to see. Desai. Marino in with the challenge, which the referee didn't like. A juggernaut coming through, isn't he, Desai? You'd have relished a few battles with him, wouldn't you, Joe? That's Albertini, just flicked away. Very important interception there by Luis Oliveira. Ziege with the corner. Milan desperately need a goal. Maldini is up. And Desai. Here is Ziege. Toldo. Certainly the tallest man on the field. Boban back into the danger zone. Fiorentina on the retreat for the moment here. This is Donadoni. They are stepping up a gear here, Milan. But can they find a way through? Ziege. Leonardo. Ability to change feet so quickly, Leonardo. Did you swear then, Joe? There was a bleep.
Non-guilty, yeah.
Not that time. Albertini. Now Batistuta, left up front on his own. Costa Curta. Luis Oliveira back defending. Leonardo. That's the Belgian again, Luis Oliveira.
Although at this particular period, you look at Milan and they have possession and they've got Fiona pinned in, they still look as if they've lost the shape. You know, the shape of the team. It's just putting the ball in there and getting knocked back out. There is no real pattern of play, so to speak.
But so much could change if they could muster a goal here, Milan. Once again, a difficult ride for them in front of their own supporters, to the dismay of Fabio Capello, a man who is not used to struggling. Juventus have now scored, and it's Antonio Conte who's given Juve the lead. Inter, remember, on 36 points, Juventus on 35. Inter still a goal down to Empoli. This is Morfeo. Now Luis Oliveira. Is this going to be another one? It should have been.
Most certainly should have been. I mean, it was a dreadful pass there by Desire, and he's passed it to the Fiorentina player, and result of which.
Meantime, Boban striding forward, and then the shot well saved by Toldo. Sorry, Joe, you were saying there?
Well, take this one here. Ba has had one of the few shots of a Milan player, and it wasn't very convincing either.
Ibrahim Ba, easily dispossessed though by Serena. So that's what's hot and cold, doesn't he, Ibrahim Ba?
Yeah, in a situation like that, and he's had it himself in that position more than once, there's got to be an end product, and you've got Milan players going in there waiting on the cross coming in, and he's lost the ball and they're going to get caught on the break.
As the director did a few minutes ago. Toes to Rui Costa. Now Batistuta. Just didn't have the pace. Leonardo. Now Donadoni. Way by Fiorentina, who's been very reliable at the back. Here he is again. Fiorentina's most experienced defender. And that's been very much to the fore today. Leonardo. By the time the cross came in, Fiorentina were able to deal with it. It's all rather disjointed for Milan. They're a team of individuals, really. The teamwork is lacking. Here's Donadoni. Think of the team he used to play in here. Now, that was a team, Joe.
That was a team because they were a group of individuals who played for each other and worked for each other.
Fiorentina are certainly doing that. This is Morfeo. That is Tuta to his left, and if only he could have found him there, it surely would have been another opening. Elegant flick by Batistuta to Serena, who's won the corner off Donadoni. Well, I thought he had. In fairness, there was no real protest, so that clearly is the right decision.
You look at the way the game's going now, the team that looks as if they could score or could be presented with a chance is Fiorentina, because they're going to catch Milan on the break. They allow Milan to come so far, and then as a group, they're putting them under pressure and they're winning the ball.
Morfeo. Certainly coming more into the match in the second half with the spaces that they're finding now. Morfeo with the second goal, Luis Oliveira with the first. Really confident all-round display from Fiorentina, who now want to bring on Tarozzi, who is a defender, who is going to make way for him. It's Luis Oliveira. So no sign yet of Udmundo. We're just over halfway through the second period. Tarozzi, who was signed from Bologna back in the summer, has been kept out by the former Falcone. Donadoni in trouble against Rui Costa. Batistuta had made a darting run ahead of him. Leonardo. Desai. Changing the focal point, but not very effectively. Here's Christian Ziga. Costa Quarter. Certainly don't roll teams over anymore here. This is Donadoni. It's been uphill for Milan all afternoon. Ibrahim Ba. Albertini. They found Gats. Kanchelskis with Batistuta. They're going to be dangerous on the break. Rui Costa, who was held back then by Albertini. That has to be a yellow card.
if you look at it from both sides, I would look at Milan and their build-up is too slow, which is allowing, from Fiorentina's point of view, to get men behind the ball. And when Milan get to the last third, there is a block there, a Fiorentina players doing the job, which is putting them under pressure and winning back possession. If you analyse it, you've hardly heard Gantz's name mentioned in the second half. He's never got into anything.
Boban to Donadoni. Costa Curta. Now Maldini. It's a fine ball into Christian Ziga. Off the post, and then Gantz on the follow-up. Couldn't react in the right way. In fairness to him, it came flying out off the post. A shot from Christian Ziga. Straight at Gantz.
Well, it's a tremendous strike. He's unfortunately hit the post, but Gantz is there and he's just failed to make a proper connection. And really, I know you make your own brace, but you just, if you're a Milan supporter, you just want that to fall a little bit kinder for Gantz.
Morfeo. Now Batistuta. Donadoni wrestled to the ground by Morfeo. The referee rightly allowed the advantage. Taken up by Leonardo. Support from Ziga. Now Albertini. Just had a feeling they could get a goal back here, Milan. We really would have a match on.
Most certainly goals make a difference, but I think the way Milan are playing, what I do think the lack is width. There doesn't seem to be any width in either side. I know that Maldini has been prevented to come forward in Chelsea, who's done a good job defensively, but there are other players who have not really taken the game to Fiorentina and tried to get round behind them.
Those crowd reactions you're hearing incidentally reflect the action in Turin. Juventus, remember, a goal up against Atalanta through Conte. Cacha then equalised, but almost instantly Zinedine Zidane restored Juve's advantage. So it's Juventus 2, Atalanta 1, and it's still Empoli 1, Inter 0. Costa Curta for Milan, who trail Fiorentina by 2-0. Leonardo just run beyond him. There is talent in the team, Joe, but it's not a unit. That's the thing, isn't it?
No, it's not a unit. Fiorentina, if you look at even the back three, they are a unit. They've never really been under any pressure whatsoever. They have been composed when they're in possession of the ball, and when they've been under any type of pressure at all, they've handled it with ease. Whereas Milan, you can't say individually that they haven't worked. I mean, they have worked to a degree, but as a unit, I think that's where they have fallen down. When you have got one man going to close a Fiorentina player, he hasn't had the backup. So they've managed to get out, and Milan have failed to regain possession.
2 goals let in today. They conceded just 6 at home in league games this season till now. Juventus the last to score before this afternoon, back in November. Costa Curta trying to inject some urgency into Milan's approach play. But again, stubborn defending by Fiorentina. Donadoni. Then Leonardo. Desai to Albertini. Leonardo again on that favoured left foot. Here's Barr. This is better from Milan. Leonardo just couldn't get on the end of the pass, though. Rui Costa on to Batistuta. Here's Tarozzi. Morfeo deceiving Ibrahim Ba, who left his leg trailing.
What I have seen today, Peter, is an improvement in a way that Fiorentina have really improved. If we take them back to the game they lost against Inter here in the San Siro, I think they've learned a lesson from that. I think whereas in that day they were maybe a little bit too cavalier, today I think they've got the balance right. They've got the goals. They've not maybe ventured forward but as much as they did in that day, but what they have done, they've got behind the ball and they made it difficult for the opposition.
Donadoni. That was cut out by Serena, who's done a good solid job down that left side for Fiorentina. Albertini to sweep it forward now. That was easy though for Fedicano. Costa corner, lofting it up now. Christian Ziga. That's Coes. The run by Kanchelskis. Haven't seen too much of him in this second half, of which there are 15 minutes remaining. Now Leonardo. Here's Maldini. Just ghosting away from Batistuta. Boban, change of direction from him. But not sufficient quality on the pass. Rui Costa. Can he spring open Milan here? Kanchelskis. Good first touch. Doesn't have too much support, but here is Kanchelskis. Not a bad finish either. Demanding that save from Taibbi. Well, we've seen Kanchelskis in that position so often in the past, and we're cutting in.
Well, I think he's been relieved a little bit from his duties of looking after Maldini, and he comes in here, he sends a little dummy there to Desire, gets on his left foot and brings off a good save, and Taibbi there.
His first start, remember, in Serie A since September. And that serious injury here. That'll be Taibbi's. Never present in the team this season. Rossi only plays in the cup games. He looked invincible with Piacenza in recent times. Did Taibbi? Not quite so convincing for Milan. Morfeo. Milan about to bring on Anderson, I gather. Desai to win the ball back for them. Now Leonardo. This is Christian Ziga. On by Leonardo, not aided by the bobble. That's Boban. Leonardo needed to change between the two. Leonardo, Gantz. And that was Adelino to hoist it away. Gantz tangling then with Fedicano. Nothing on for Kanchelskis, so here's Paolo Maldini. Still possession without penetration from Milan. Donadoni. Coes in the way. Now Rui Costa. This is Batistuta. Well, Anderson, I gather, was stripped and ready to come on, but now has gone and sat down again. Now he's coming back on. He'll be exhausted. Albertini. Confused? You will be. Batistuta. Oh, that was neat. Rui Costa. Fiorentina again pushing forward with a swagger here until Costa Porta curtailed the run of Kanchelskis. Now maybe Costa Porta will need some treatment before he can continue. They certainly want to make a switch, Milan, and bring on Andreas Anderson, a player who's been linked with Newcastle, of course. Off goes Desai. But he's got to gamble, Capello.
Yeah, he's got to try and do something. I mean, so far they've been a little bit predictable, as you said. They lack penetration. For me, they lack width. Everything is getting funneled right down the middle, and that is where I see Fiorentina's strength. The three guys at the back, they've hardly put a foot wrong today, and unless Milan change their tactic and try and give them some width, I can't really see them penetrating them at all.
Here's Padalino. He's been very impressive. Serena. Certainly a change in fortune for Fiorentina's coach Malassani. He came close to quitting the club last month. At half-time during the 1-1 draw with Parma, their president stormed in to the dressing room, apparently slated him in front of the players, and he said, if you do that again, I shall resign. That was Kanchelskis. This is Serena. In goes Kanchelskis. Maldini to head it away, and there were options in the centre then for Fiorentina, and they failed to take advantage. They could have put this game beyond Milan's reach. Approaching the last 10 minutes now. Milan still in there fighting, but really it hasn't been their afternoon. Panolino, generally so assured at the back. Costa Curta with a deft piece of control. Here's Leonardo. Albertini. It's been disappointing. Hasn't been able to take the game by the scruff of the neck. Although certainly credit should be paid to the likes of Coes in the midfield, Rui Costa for Fiorentina. They've worked very hard for each other. This is Morfeo trying to dodge past Maldini's tackle. They'll be wondering if he's done enough to retain his place, Morfeo.
I think he's had a good game, Peter. I think he's been very bright, sharp, showed a lot of good qualities on the ball.
That is Tuta. We've seen the run of Rui Costa. Leonardo just whacking it forward. More in hope than belief.
I think as a team, I think Fiorentina will gain a lot more just than 3 points. I think the confidence and belief they'll get from coming here after being here previously this season and playing so well and being beaten. Here they come today, and so far, I mean, football is such a game, it changes in 1 minute, but so far they merit being 2-0 up.
Zarozzi checking Leonardo. Furicano prodding it straight to Maldini. Here's Boban. I think we'd exonerate him from any blame, really, for Milan's overall display. Here goes Donadoni on this very uneven surface. Morfeo almost arrogantly holding the play up and now releasing Serena. Intelligent work then from Domenico Morfeo. He's on the ball again now. He's got a lovely touch. That was Boban. Now Gantz. You have to take on the pitch as well. Anderson, laid off. Gantz, good chance. Very good chance. Which won't go in for Milan.
Actually, it's not a bad little bit of play here. Anderson's laid it in his path. He's taken a touch, and but he's failed to hit the target. It's a little bit more penetration than they've shown previously, but it's still not enough. It's just an example of what should have been coming before.
Now Morfeo is going off, having certainly played his part. Emiliano Bajica has 7 minutes to make his mark. Former captain of the Italian under-21 team. He's failed to realise his full potential, I think, at Fiorentina, after showing so much promise with his previous club, Bari. I'm being told that Inter have equalised. Recoba. Now remember him, he got those 2 spectacular goals on the opening day of the season. I gather he's done it again. Another long range.
I remember those 2 goals. He came off the bench, but I think it was the first game against Brescia here in the San Siro, and he scored 2 marvellous goals. Hasn't figured much, but Inter seem to have had players who they could call upon to get them vital goals, whereas we have here in Milan.
We've hardly seen him since.
Yeah.
I think he's still celebrating the first 2 goals, but he certainly hasn't been in the frame too often. But he's back today, and he scored a vital equaliser there for Inter, away to Empoli. Empoli 1, Inter 1. This has been anything but a memorable afternoon for Milan in the San Siro, where the unrest is growing. Donadoni hurt himself here, colliding with Rui Costa. Just one start and now 4 stump appearances in Serie A since his return, Donadoni. Kanchelskis, quick feet. Bajika. This is Filicano, who's been pretty much unruffled all afternoon. Batistuta, yes, Serena to his left, might not need him. He couldn't outmaneuver Costa Curta.
Just here when he's taken it wouldn't come down for him. He got half in mind to take him his head or his feet.
It's a foul on Tarozzi by Gantz. A little unlucky. Not sure he did too much wrong there.
Doesn't seem much in it at all, from either player's point of view. I just look at Gantz there, and he has failed to deliver today. But I think he does need a partner. He does need someone up there that can take the brunt, because he is a player who is at his best in the penalty area. We've seen him on 1 or 2 occasions, especially in the first half, where he's searched out wide to get the ball. But he is a player that wants to get on to the end of things in the box.
This is Bajika. Fiorentina, you would think, just cruising now through these last few minutes. Milan can't get the ball back off them. Padalino. Paolo Maldini. Donadoni. This is Ibrahim Ba. Bajika for Fiorentina. Now Kurs, whose energy and commitment in the midfield has been so important for Fiorentina today. Are we going to see him for the Italian national team in the week? Feeling as he could well start against Slovakia. Donadoni is not going to finish this game. Now Rui Costa with Batistuta, subdued and contained for much of the game. And Maldini just brushed him aside. Here's Maldini again. Christian Ziga. Tarozzi. I think your old team, your old club, Joe, have a lot of hard work ahead of them.
Yeah, they have. The win, prior to Parma, the Parma performance last week, they had gone 10 games without defeat. But I think it was just a little bit of an illusion, really. I mean, I see a number of faults in them. They are a team that have got a lot of talented players, but they aren't a team. If you look back to the last great Milan team, and you had players like Hulud, Van Basten, Rijkaard, along with the Italian players, Maldini. There was a great humility about them. What they did is they worked for each other, they worked as a unit. And today, I haven't seen that. There are some talented players out there, but they have failed to deliver, first and foremost, with the work rate as a unit.
Albertini. One of several players below par today. Here's Filicano, who certainly hasn't been. Buckled over then by Anderson. Leonardo, a teasing cross. Gantz did well to keep it in, but Toldo is there. Unless there's a dramatic turnaround now, Fiorentina will remain unbeaten in 8 competitive games on their travels. They used to be very vulnerable away from home, but they've tightened up. And they have so much attacking potential too. We're in the last minute. Alessandro Costa Quarta to Albertini. This is Leonardo. Ziga. Now Now Rui Costa. The break could be on here. Batistuta very disappointed. But maybe he'll still get his chance. Andrei Kanchelskis. Batistuta is up with him. Still Kanchelskis. That was Maldini, then Batistuta. Very close.
I think when Kanchelskis is coming in here, I think Batistuta is just waiting for him to lay it in his path. But as we've known from the experience of Kanchelskis here in this one, he can hit them either with his right or his left foot, and he wasn't giving up that opportunity.
Rui Costa now making way as Amoroso comes on. Christian Amoroso, who's an under-21 international, and he'll slot into his midfield role. He's done well, Rui Costa. Three minutes of stoppage time to be played.
Well, I think that Fiorentina have won it in comfort, Peter. I don't think they've been stretched in any way whatsoever. They've showed a little bit of restraint when they have taken the lead. They haven't ventured forward too much. I think they've been well in control, and I think they'll have gained an awful lot from this performance, as well as the points that they get.
Leonardo setting off on a slalom run.
Well, if you look at that there's three players around Leonardo there to win possession. That is what Milan used to do to the opposition, and that is what other teams in Italy have learned, like Juventus, who went on to great things. And I have failed to see Milan today behave in that fashion.
Maldini. Here's Tarazzi against Leonardo. Albertini. Miscue by Tarazzi. But it's Fiorentina's throw. Fujika will lead. In fact, it's a free kick for the challenge on Amoroso. Yeah, there's a few of those out there. Batistuta. Amoroso to Kanchelskis. Batistuta wheeled away in disappointment. Maybe he felt he might have been serviced there by Kanchelskis. Bit greedy, isn't you?
No, I think
Not for goal, yeah.
I think it's worth the pop there. I mean, I don't see where he is in the angle that Batistuta was stood at. I don't see any benefit at all in passing it to him.
Nor did Kanchelskis. Amoroso. Batistuta, I suppose, understandably, is always disappointed when chances don't come his way.
I think he's got to be happy. I know that his personal tally hasn't been increased today, but I think he's got to be happy. I mean, being captain of a team that's come here to the San Siro and not only won, but won with merit, and won it in such a way that will give them a lot of confidence for the future and trying to get a UEFA place.
That was Fujika with the free kick. In goes Kois. Only a whisker away. They're claiming a corner. The referee has given the goal kick. But the game is surely out of reach of Milan. The final whistle will go any moment now to end Milan's misery. Padolino. Fedicano, there it is. It's all over. And Fiorentina have triumphed here, courtesy of the goals from Luis Oliveira and Domenico Morfeo. In the early phase of each half, it's been an impressive afternoon for Fiorentina, but the whistles around the stadium will tell you that the Milan fans are very unhappy with the way their team have played, as I'm sure Capello will be. And really, this was a deserved win for Fiorentina as they continue their success away from home, to the delight of their coach Alberto Malassani.